Exodus 5. It's time. Moses is finally going to start leading his people out of Egypt. But first, he and his brother Aaron need to talk to Pharaoh to get permission and perform a magic show and kill Pharaoh's son. Because that's all part of God's plan. Except this whole chapter is basically the prequel. It sets up the story, but we don't get to any of the good stuff. Afterwards, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness." What, no hello? No bowing down to him? No formalities? They're not even subtle. They're just like, God made us do this. Please don't kill us. Weird request though. They're not saying Pharaoh must free the slaves on God's orders. They're saying God needs to borrow your slaves for a weekend so we can all have a party with him. Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Ouch. Talk about a blow to the ego. God? Who's God? Never heard of him. Name dropping doesn't work if the other person doesn't know the name. What is Moses gonna say? If he says, "I am," Pharaoh's gonna totally stab him. Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword." Good attempt. We need a vacation or else we'll get murdered. Try that on your boss next time and see if it works. That word us is interesting too. God may strike us. Do they mean God will strike Moses and Aaron or all of Egypt? Because I don't think Pharaoh cares what happens to Moses and Aaron. Then again, maybe Pharaoh would care if he thought God was going to kill off his slaves. Now, at this point, Moses and Aaron are doing everything God told them to do. But they were also told that Pharaoh was gonna say no to this. It's part of the plan. Let's see what happens. But the king of Egypt said, "Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work." Then Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now numerous and you are stopping them from working." Freaking capitalists, man. King Bezos over here is mad at Moses and Aaron for preventing the slaves from making him money for 2 seconds. Screw him. And not that I mind. But why are the slaves not working? Are they all just watching this interaction and waiting for Pharaoh to respond? It's not like Moses and Aaron told them to stop. That same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and overseers in charge of the people. "You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That is why they are crying out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Make the work harder for the people so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies." It takes a special kind of D-bag to see slaves working non-stop, only to call them lazy and wonder, how can I make everything worse for them? Make things worse so they keep working for me will either lead to tyranny or an outright rebellion. And I'm guessing Pharaoh's not gonna like how this ends. Then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, "This is what Pharaoh says. I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it, but your work will not be reduced at all." So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, "Complete the work required of you for each day, just as when you had straw." And Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelite overseers they had appointed, demanding, "Why haven't you met your quota of bricks yesterday or today as before? Why haven't you lived up to our unreasonable expectations?" Is a recipe for a toxic workplace and something brown kids everywhere hear from their parents. It's kind of messed up that the literal slave drivers aren't beating up the slaves, too much work, but beating up the slaves' overseers instead. They're going after middle management. In a way, they want the slaves to be mad at the overseers instead of Pharaoh, the guy keeping them as slaves. You will never hear a more clear-cut case for why unions are necessary than Pharaoh forcing his slaves to suffer more simply out of spite. Then the Israelite overseers went and appealed to Pharaoh. Why have you treated your servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, yet we are told, make bricks. Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people. Oh, damn. They are calling out the corrupt rich guy. I like it. Too bad they're all gonna die now, I assume. Pharaoh said, lazy. That's what you are, lazy. That is why you keep saying, let us go and sacrifice to the Lord. Now get to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks. This guy is such a dick. And where is God during all this? He's just letting it all happen while the slaves suffer. He's just sitting around, being a burning bush, talking to no one. The Israelite overseers realized they were in trouble when they were told, you are not to reduce the number of bricks required of you for each day. When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them. And they said, may the Lord look on you and judge you. You have made us obnoxious to Pharaoh and his officials and have put a sword in their hand to kill us. I would be mad too. Moses and Aaron made a demand without thinking about the consequences. The overseers are right to complain, you made this mess, you get us out of it. This would be a good time for God to pop back in. Moses returned to the Lord and said, why, Lord? Why have you brought trouble on this people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people, and you have not rescued your people at all. Remember when Moses said to God, please send someone else? I'll bet he's thinking, yup, I should not have said yes to this. I feel like this people were in trouble long before Moses showed up. Like maybe when the slavery happened was pretty bad. All of God's demands should be treated this way though. Everyone should constantly be yelling at God when things don't work out as expected. Make him answer for it. It's not like he's doing anything else. That's it, by the way. We're done with the chapter. It ends very abruptly. I kind of wonder what would have happened if Pharaoh just said, sure, you can have all the slaves for a few days in the wilderness. It's his refusal to do that that sets into motion everything else for the next several chapters. If he just conceded a little bit up front, he could have saved himself a world of disaster. But this is the Bible, where good ideas go to die.